friends of the class of 2017, welcome. A few weeks ago, I confessed to the seniors that I get uncontrollably sentimental at baccalaureate, and 5 minutes later, they nominated me to give this speech. I'm not sure if I should be flattered or if y'all were just collectively calling my bluff. Let's choose the former, so thank you, 2017, for the honor of addressing you this evening. It will come as a surprise to exactly no one that I would like to talk about science. But first, a story. In the Cameroonian rainforest of West Central Africa, there lives a species of stink ant that spends its life busily foraging on the forest floor. Every once in a while, a rather unlucky ant may inhale a spore from a fungus of the genus Tomentella, a spore that drifted down from somewhere high in the rainforest canopy above. This is bad news for that ant. The spore finds its way to the ant's tiny brain and begins to grow, soon affecting the ant's behavior. Driven mad by the rapidly growing fungus, the ant finds a tall fern and begins to climb. Up and up it climbs to dizzying heights no sane ant would ever see. Eventually, the ant grabs a fern in a tight grip and dies. The fungus happily eats its way through the remaining ant tissue, and eventually a spike-like protrusion bursts through the ant's skull. It's true. The spike grows to about 1.5 inches long with a bright orange tip covered in spores that eventually drift down to the forest floor below. I find this story wonderful. Not because I have a vendetta against ants, but because the lives of these creatures fit together in such an intricate yet deviously simple way. I wonder how many dead ends and blind alleys evolution tried before it happened upon this rather gruesome fate for our friend the stink ant. In the 1960s, physicist Victor Weisskopf wrote a book called Knowledge and Wonder, in which he attempted to summarize all that was known about the natural world. Perhaps overly ambitious, but I mention it because I love the title. I think Professor Weisskopf was hinting at the two values of studying science, two social goods, if you will, knowledge and wonder. Knowledge, of course, is the important stuff. It's roads and bridges and skyscrapers, it's hybrid cars and more efficient airplanes and battery-powered skateboards. Knowledge is treatments for previously untreatable diseases. It's the pacemaker that kept my grandmother's heart happily beating because the doctors asked her what she was looking forward to, and she said she wanted to go to Vegas for her 100th birthday. She did. Knowledge drives economies. It rings the warning bells of climate change while also providing hope for solutions. It's big data and nanotechnology and shining palm-sized devices whose names begin with lowercase vowels. Knowledge is power, but like literally because electricity. Wonder is that sense of being a part of something larger than ourselves. It's the intertwined evolution of the stink ant and its fungal nemesis. It's lying on your back on a warm summer evening, looking at the stars and knowing that you may be able to calculate, but you will never fully comprehend the enormous scales of time and distance and mass by which the universe measures itself. Early in my Castilleja career, there was a longer unit on light in the 9th grade physics class. I spent half a period describing the geometry of rainbows, how you stand with the sun at your back, and if there's rain falling in front of you, the light will enter each raindrop, refracting and reflecting, so that the red light coming from this raindrop and the blue light coming from that raindrop will both find their way to your eyes. But that geometry is very specific, so the person standing next to you sees light reflecting and refracting from different raindrops. In other words, everyone sees their own rainbow. In that sense, that's wonder. Now these two values, knowledge and wonder, are pretty well known and they're both important, but there's something missing. Another physicist, Richard Feynman, wrote that, above all, the study of science teaches us to grapple with uncertainty, which isn't, as it sounds, the opposite opposite of knowledge, but rather its parallel. Uncertainty is the careful use of significant digits drilled into you by your chemistry teachers, telling the world that you've measured this precisely, but not farther. Uncertainty is the understanding that the most interesting answers aren't in the back of the book, not because the questions were even numbered, but because the answers haven't been written yet. And at the quantum level, uncertainty tells us that there are limits not to what we do know, but to what we can know. There's humility in realizing that your knowledge has limits. It's no coincidence that the founding document of our government, the United States Constitution, was written after the scientific revolution. When you understand that you don't know everything, you naturally create a government that leaves itself open to revision. I mean, can we give it up for the 19th Amendment? Because in front of me are 56 faces, I can't see them, but I'm sure they're there, filled with more courage, courtesy, character, charity, and conscience than the framers of the Constitution ever dreamed possible. Those are my 3 reasons to find some place in your life for just thinking about science, knowledge, wonder, and uncertainty. I'd end there, but this is commencement season, so I'm required by law to give some advice. So here it is. Number 1, embrace uncertainty. Search for answers, but be content if you don't find them. Be humble in the limits of your knowledge, even as you strive to extend those limits. It's okay if the map of your life has edges that read, "Here be dragons," as long as those words are there ironically, because the unknown isn't to be feared. Number 2, cultivate your sense of wonder. When the cares of the world are pressing on you, when your roommate's being a pain, or your professor just added another 15-page paper to the syllabus, find something to be amazed by. Gaze at the stars. Watch a spider spin its web. Climb a mountain and let yourself be awed by the millions of years of dauntless geologic pressure and random evolutionary chance that put this piece of ground several kilometers in the air and you on top of it. Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. Number 3, probably the most important. If you find yourself hiking in the Cameroonian rainforest of West Central Africa, breathe carefully. I mean, that's just common sense. Class of 2017, congratulations. I wish you lives filled with knowledge and wonder and uncertainty. Thank you.